No, I'm Debbie, aka Debbie Tonica, and I am in DNA. I'm the vocalist, and I also play the synthesizer as well.
I'm Alex Pacheco. I'm her brother, and I play keyboards. I use the software to make the beats and all that.
My brother and I, you know, we always shared a room.
Okay.
Yeah, just because that was the condition
of
our.
I mean, there was 6 of you.
Yeah. And so those were the conditions, and so we always shared a room, and in that space, we always listened to music together. We also have older siblings. My older sibling used to be a DJ.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then my other sister
so
Mariana.
No chance of bringing any of your other siblings into the band.
No,
I love the name, by the way.
Thank
DNA.
You.
Like,
yeah.
The first time I heard it, I was like, oh my god, that's freaking awesome. Like, I really like puns, and I love like wordplay, and I love all that. I mean, obviously, I'm with a lyricist, so it kind of comes with the territory.
It's by our older brother with like the music style that he would DJ with, which was like old school funk, hip hop, R&B, and then our other sister always had like Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang blasting in her car, and it was like to the point where I'd be like,
I'm a little upset no one said Lauryn Hill, but
Lauryn Hill
okay,
no,
we could be friends.
But also they did the American side, but they also had the Mexican side. So
I love
they
it.
had both. Like they did, they
like
listened to Luis Miguel. You know, that was huge.
Awesome.
Ricky Martin, Menudo.
Oh,
I'm talking back in the day.
You're back in the day, Menudo.
We were exposed to like, both worlds, so I grew up appreciating both sides, and I knew it was special since that time.
So who decided to start the band first?
So I guess the reason why I took it back there is because DNA, our roots from where we rooted our music is there in our experience with like our family, and then we started listening to music. So Rage Against the Machine throughout the years, Green Day.
No doubt.
Dr. Dre, Snoop
everything.
Dogg, and basically, when Alex was, how old were you? Like
17.
Yeah.
I picked up the guitar. It was just in the garage. My older sister took like one class and gave up, and then it was there for a long time. And
I feel you.
and I grabbed it one day, and I didn't know about tuning. I didn't know anything about it. I just held it and I played CDs. I think it was Green Day, where I would just start with the top string and just try to find out how it works, you know?
So you basically are self-taught then. Yeah. That's awesome. And with your instruments as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. So once Alex started learning guitar, he actually was in college, and he was in 2 bands. Chimichangas and Mestizaje.
Mm-hmm. When I went to San Diego State, I was there for 2 years, and when I got there, I already had passion for music. And then I met other people that were there already making music, and then I got in that mix, and that was my goal, was to like get a deal, to get signed.
Awesome.
I really pursued it. Then I ended up coming back to Oxnard, and then that's when she started coming along into that world too.
Mm-hmm. That's fun. I had been in mariachi in high school, the migrant student mariachi, so like the free one where they give you all the free instruments, and so I learned how to play guitar there.
That's awesome. Yeah,
and singing too. Ironically, the same song my mom taught me.
You had to step up than everyone else.
Yeah. So, in high school, I met Tipsy, Thursday Island Psychic Charity, Oscar Arellano.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Hey. And he was a drummer.
Okay.
Well, he's still a drummer, but he's
an amazing musician too.
Yes, he is.
He's really, really talented.
Yeah. And so basically, he started coming over and jamming out with me and my brother. And we were in high school. And he had to leave his drum set in our garage, and so I started picking up the drums, and then he started teaching me the drums. And then in high school, I
get really excited. Sorry.
I know.
I love it. Like,
I'm excited to share with you.
So
we basically came up with this band called Kama Sutra. I wanted Kama Sutra to be on the flyers, and so that it could be like uncomfortable for people.
I think that would have done it.
Yeah.
So especially when you're like, here's my brother and me, like
me and my brother and Oscar and Kama Sutra.
I could dig it though. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I played the drums in that band. Alex was the singer and the guitarist, and Oscar was the bassist.
That's interesting.
Yeah, see, now everyone sees me in the background.
I was like, I've never heard you sing, so that would be, I mean, he's going to sing for us later, I promise, no. That would be awesome to hear you sing someday, because I love to sing, and I'm always bugging your sister every time I see her, okay, are we collabing soon? Even though I'm not really a singer, I would just like to sing.
Yeah, you are, you have a beautiful voice.
To sing. Thank you, I just like it, but anyway, go ahead.
So from Kama Sutra, we ended up playing a couple shows, and then from there, I think that's when I started having a band or playing music with Thursday Island Psychic Charity, aka Tipsy, and that's when I started experimenting with synthesizers, piano, and vocals a lot.
What drew you to those particular instruments?
So basically, when I was living in Long Beach, I started listening to this band called Animal Collective, and their sound influenced me a lot. It was just different for me. Like, I don't know. I actually just picked it out in a record store. Okay. And then I just kind of went with it because of the cover. Okay. And at first I was like, this is not, I don't know what this is. Like, what is this music? But it influenced me a lot. And I started experimenting. I introduced it to Tipsy also. And then since then, we started making music together. Okay. And we created a band called OD, which also pun, because his name's Oscar and my name's Debbie.
Oh my god! Who made up DNA?
I did.
Oh, okay. So, runs in the family.
Yeah. So from OD, eventually Alex joined as the guitarist. Okay. So then there we are again in our new band, and we played shows in LA and Long Beach. We played a backyard show opening up for Chicano Batman. Okay.
Which at the time they weren't even big. It was
but
just
that's
like
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You can say that. Cool. That's now on your resume.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So then from there, it kind of we just didn't play anymore, and then we started a band called Dementia with Chris Mejia of Heretic AD. Okay. So he has that band. They're from Oxnard area, and they just got back from tour actually. And so they're a local band, but they're
making the circuit.
They're doing their thing. And so we had a band with him for 2 years?
Yeah, in that band we really experimented a lot with metal and rock, and at that time I was heavily influenced by Tool, so that really played a lot of role. And we didn't have a bassist, so my challenge, the way I took that was I needed to sound fuller, so we could fill up the room with just us three with no bass, but then try to add bass to my sound. When I came into this new sound, first of all, I lost a lot of my, I didn't lose, I pawned a lot of my old gear. Because at the time I had gotten married, and I kind of shifted my priorities to more responsibilities. And unfortunately, part of that came with just pawning off my gear, because I just realized slowly, I accepted that, okay, I'm moving on in my life. And it was always in me, and I dabbled here and there, but it wasn't like before. I would always retreat to our old garage on G Street in Oxnard, and in a way that's just my safety net. That's what I've always gone to, is like a studio like this is I find comfort in that. Yeah. And sometimes for me the world could be a heavy place, and I tend to escape into music.
So you still had that space to go to?
Not right now. We had, but we have a certain different living situation now where we've had to make readjustments, and our equipment right now is in a storage unit.
Let me tell you, life is crazy. I mean, everyone has a different story and a different journey, but that definitely leads me into the other topics that I wanted to talk to you guys about and kind of touch on. Mental health. I mean, for me, mental health is such an important thing. It's something that I struggle with at times, the self-confidence or depression, anxiety. I've been diagnosed with PTSD. There's just a lot of factors that kind of hinder your creativity in a sense, but I'm learning to use my creativity as therapy, using what we're doing right now. This is something I've always wanted to do.
It's beautiful.
I love it, and I love connecting with people. I feel like I'm really weird. I feel like I'm very intuitive, and I feel like the people that I want to interview or have on this Creators Weekly, besides very, very talented people, I want to have people that have something to share, your guys' story so far, the fact that you guys are brother and sister, the fact that you guys grew up in this, that your mom writes poetry, I like hearing about that stuff. So is there ever been a time in your guys' life where, like you said, music was what you went to? Like, was there a certain time that you can put into a story for us and kind of give us a little bit of that?
For me, it was really early on. I burned my hands at 1.5 years old, so it was a 3rd-degree burn, and I had to have skin grafts and a lot of physical therapy. So in that process towards rehabilitation, my mom and I grew really close because she felt guilty, and in a way, like, I felt that guilt from her. Like, she felt guilty for, being negligent at the time and that this happened, but I kind of had to step up and, like, let her know it's not like that. And the music was our bonding, like, mechanism, because when we would drive to those appointments, I remember clear as day, she would sing a cappella, and it was just, to me, like, one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. So, and
that's, it's a memory beautiful. That you will keep with you forever.
And that's what, for me, started my whole, like, music. I realized the power of music. If she could use it to heal herself, I could use it too. And if we use the same song for healing, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And when I make songs in DNA, that's what I want now, is for others. To finish that idea was, I really, through that healing, through the therapy and rehabilitation on my hand, I really appreciated my hands, because they were talking about cutting them off, and my dad was like, no, please don't. So they basically saved what they could, and I kind of grew up with, like, a newfound gratitude for my hands. So I would always hide them, though I underwent a lot of bullying, and that's still something I carry. That's why I'm introverted, and I know I have a lot of issues, but I'm working on all those things.
That's great every day, you can say that, though. That you.
It is what it is. Yeah, it's
other
real.
People need to hear that, because that's amazing.
Yeah. I guess I would say, as far as, like, mental health and how it relates to healing with the music that we write, basically, so after dementia, that band was done, and I was suddenly found in a place where I no longer had anyone to play music with, and so I went through basically I created Tonica, and that's my artist name. And in that process of creating that artist name and starting to write music on my own, it helped me a lot through just, like, loss and depression, just overcoming, relationship issues, just being alone, and writing music by myself in itself was a way for me to cope with whatever it is that I was going through at the time. And so once I started writing music at that time as Tonica, that's when I realized, okay, I think the purpose of me writing songs is so that I can actually just deal with life and have a way to express myself, even if it's not for an audience. An interesting evolution for me, because I just never expected I would be a solo artist at any point in time. I always depended on others to create music, and so that was my moment when I realized, like, what, I can actually do this for myself, and to, like, experience what it feels like to write something just on my own, and that helped me a lot. And I'm grateful that I did that, because eventually it led to also writing songs again with Alex.
Okay.
And so during the time I was Tonica, we wrote several songs, and that's how DNA came about. Because as the years passed, we would go back to writing songs, and the way that DNA writes songs is, it's basically emotionally driven, and we're very in tune with our feelings and our emotions. And when we write music, it is healing, and it is related to what we're going through in life in the moment.
That's beautiful to me.